Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion or blanket, block, something that will allow the back of your neck and your spine to create one nice long line, nice long straight line. And then gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. And soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is mindful gardening and mindful living. So yoga and gardening are a natural pairing, planting a seed, nurturing its growth, then experiencing its full bloom, its fullest expression, and the fruits of that full bloom. With yoga, excuse me, with yoga, we plant the seed of an intention for our mind and our body and our spirit. We nurture that seed by practicing the 8 limbs of yoga. And then we blossom into our fullest expression. And then we take those fruits of that fullest expression out into the world. So obviously this morning's theme is about gardening, and it is a form of exertion. And if gardening, not to be taken literally, it could mean that you mow the lawn or just walking through other gardens. It's just that presence of being in nature that we're speaking about. And for this morning's pranayama, I'd like to have us do a pursed lip breathing technique. And it's actually a breathing technique that I do in the morning when I walk Oscar around, because we have a lot of hills, as is Vermont. It's always hills, those pesky hills. And it's a breathing technique that helps you slow your breath down, allowing you to inhale and exhale more air. And that makes it easier for you to perform physical activities like walking or gardening. So how you do it is inhaling through your nose. Always good inhaling through your nose. The nose is meant for breathing, not the mouth. Mouth's meant for eating. So you inhale through your nose, but then you do purse your lips and you blow out through your mouth like you're blowing on hot food. So inhale through the nose, and then pursing your lips, you blow out. till your lungs are depleted or emptied. And one last time. And then for our meditation this morning, I'd like to introduce you to a mudra that is the Earth Mudra. And it's in Sanskrit, it's Prithvi. And each of our fingers actually is connected to an element. The thumb to fire, index finger to air, middle finger to ether, ring finger is to the earth, and the pinky is the water element. So for the Prithvi, or the Earth Mudra, you're going to connect the earth element to fire. So you're bringing your ring finger to your thumb, and the other three are extended. So this Earth Mudra connects us to the earth by having us feel grounded and rooted and supported. So that's a nice mudra to start your day with. And for this meditation, you can use that mudra during the meditation, but I'd like to take a quote from this book, Mindfulness in the Garden, Zen Tools for Digging in the Dirt. And the book's by Zachiah Murray. And there's a little passage in it that I particularly love. So we're going to be breathing in, and on the exhale, I'll say one line. So just take and you can use your pursed lip breathing if you'd like on the exhale. So we'll start now. Inhale, and then exhale. We slow down our steps. Soul to soil, we touch the earth. Breathe in. Breathe out. We are free from the busyness of our lives and enjoy our freedom communing with nature. Breathe in. Breathe out. We relax into nature's welcoming embrace, and we come to know our gardens and ourselves. Breathe in. Breathe out. We build a true friendship with the earth. We'll just take a few minutes, and I'll meet you on the mat. You may open your eyes. And we'll start our asana practice by having seated shoulder shrugs. So gently circle your shoulders up toward your ears, and then roll them back, opening up your chest, coming down, bringing the shoulders forward and then up toward your ears again, roll them back, relaxing them, and then down. And then you can synchronize and inhale on the way up and exhale as your shoulders drop. You just do it nice and slow, so we're relaxing our upper torso or shoulders or chest area. I just want to say, when I was thinking of the theme of mindful gardening and mindful living, I remember a number of years ago, because I've had flower gardens, and vegetable gardens, and herb gardens for quite a number of years now. And I remember one time just going into the garden and realizing that when I go into the garden, I look at the weeds and I kind of focus on them and oh, look at all this weeding I need to do. I gotta get on it, da, 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 da. And with the realization that day, oh my gosh, I'm missing all the blossoms that are blooming and being beautiful by focusing on the weeds. And that, became kind of a metaphor for life, if you will. It's like, are you looking at the weeds all the time, Terry? Or are you making an effort, a concentrated effort to really look at the blossoms in your life? Look at how beautiful things are. Even if it's just foliage, it's, lush and green. Then the blossoms are just vibrant and colorful. So there's a lot to be grateful for. And yes, the weeds will get tended to. Kind of need to do that. But while I'm tending to those weeds, I'm also going to be focusing a lot on those blossoms. So I encourage you to do that as well, whether it's in a garden or just in life. And then we're going to relax our shoulders, bringing our fingertips to the side. We'll do a few chest openers here. So we're going to inhale, bringing our hands up overhead. Palms come together, and then palms come to heart center. And then we're going to open our arms wide, opening up our chest and relaxing our shoulders, bringing our hands back together. Inhale up, overhead, and then exhale, letting our hands drop back down to the mat. We'll do that a couple more times. So inhale, bringing your hands up overhead, palms come together. Exhale, bringing the palms to heart center. Inhale, opening up your hands, opening up your chest, opening up your heart. And then bringing them back together again, back to Anjali Mudra. And then inhale, bringing your hands up overhead. And exhale, back down. One last time, inhale up. Palms together, exhale down to heart center. Inhale, opening up. And exhale, bringing your hands back together. Inhale, up overhead. And then exhale down. The next thing we're going to do is some stirring of the pot, if you will. Bring your hands to your knees. And then you're going to use the tip of your toe as if it's a spoon. And you're going to create an imaginary pot in front of you. And you're going to stir the pot on the outer rim with that tip of your nose, that spoon, if you will. So we're going to take our spoon, our tip of our nose, and send it over to the left, and then lean into it, and then send that tip of the nose way over to the other side of the pot, and then over to the side, and come back in, and then bring your tip of your nose, your spoon, to the inner rim of this pot, and then come back out, and again, make these nice big circles. Well, first you need that big pot, so make the big pot, and then bring that spoon all the way around the edging. So we're going to go out, opening up our chest, reaching over to the other side of the pot, coming over, then down again, and then coming back to central. We'll stir it the other way. Just make sure that we get ourselves nice and warmed up here. So we'll take that spoon, tip of our nose, and circle it around big large pot, and come back to center, reach out and all the way over to the front of the pot, and then over to the side, and then to the back of the pot. And one last time, big circle, stretching as far out as we can go. And then back to center. We're going to come, oh, actually, I have these first to do. So we're going to do some side stretches. So bringing your fingertips over to the side of the mat, and then bringing your left arm up, the right fingertips to the mat, the left arm up beside your ear. And then we'll side stretch by lowering our elbow toward the mat as we tip our torso over to the right. And then come back up, inhale. We'll do that 2 more times. So tip of the right fingers are on the mat, left arm alongside your ear, bend your right elbow down toward the mat, side stretch over to the right, and then back up again. And one last time, tip of the finger, left arm close to your ear, bend your right elbow all the way down, and then come back up. And bring both hands back down. We're going to take our right leg and we're going to bring it to the mat and then bring it over to the side so that our legs create this M shape, sort of, kind of, or definitely a V shape in the middle. And this is deer pose. We won't talk about deer and gardening in the same breath. But, so then we're going to take our right hand, bring it to our left knee, bringing our left fingertips behind our hip, and just twist to the left side of the mat. Taking a few deep breaths here. And then we're going to reverse that and bring the left hand to the right knee and the right fingertips behind the hip and twist to the right. And then come back to center. We're going to bring our legs back to a cross basic seated pose. But we're going to have the other leg on the outer part. So then we'll do a few side stretches here. Left fingertips come to the mat, right arm up alongside the ear, and then bending the left elbow toward the mat, we're going to tip over to the left side. Nice stretch for the side, and then come back up. And we'll do that 2 more times. So bringing the right arm back up, dropping the left elbow toward the mat, tipping our torso over to the left, and then back up again. And one last time. One nice fluid movement. And then back up. And I have my left leg on the outside. I'm going to take that, put the left foot on the mat, and then bring the left leg over to the side, creating that M shape again. Deer pose. Then bring my left hand to my right knee, right fingertips behind the hips, twisting my torso over to the right side. Take a few deep breaths here. And then back to center, and then bring our right hand to the left knee, left fingertips behind the hip, twisting to the left. And then we'll come into tabletop. So make your way onto your hands and knees. We'll come where our hands and wrists are right below the shoulders, knees are right below the hips, navel's tucked to the spine. And what we're going to do, your weight is evenly distributed in both hands. We're going to take the right hand first, leaving the left hand where it is, and just bring the fingertips are 180 degrees. So then they're facing, the tips of your fingers are facing toward your right knee. We would take that, and so our hands are on the mat in opposite directions. So then again, just kind of equally distribute your weight into your hands so you're feeling a little bit of stretch in your right wrist there. And if that's too much, then you can just maybe bring it halfway, like 90 degrees, so that your fingertips are pointing to the side of the mat. Just a little bit different movement, stretching out your wrist a little bit. And then we'll bring it back to center. And then we'll do that on the other side. So again, you can go full 180 or 90 degrees if the 180 is too much. And then just kind of gently focus on having weight evenly distributed in both wrists, both hands. And then bringing that left hand back to center. So we're back to tabletop. And then we're going to take the time just to do a few neck turns or head turns. So we're going to gently turn our head over to the right, loosening up our upper neck area, and then back to center, and then gently over to the left, and then back to center, again to the right, back to center, flow it over to the left, back to center, and one last time to the right, back to center, and then to the left, back to center. Then cat-cows, we're gonna exhale, rounding our back, dropping our head and tailbone down, really giving our spine a nice stretch. And then inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze straight ahead, weights evenly distributed in our hands. Here comes not the cat, not the cow, but the dog. Oh, my last one. So they're around. Exhale, rounding your back for cat. And then inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up for cow. And then just keep going at your own pace, inhaling and exhaling to the movement. Just really feeling that nice stretch in both directions. And we'll come back to tabletop. And we're going to do a few, different kind of stretch for our leg. It's kind of like a runner's lunge, but it's elevated. So we're going to extend our right foot back so that the toes are curled under and you can feel the ball of your foot on the mat. And then we're just going to lift our left knee up. We're just going to hover here for a moment. It's kind of like a plank pose. And then bring our knee back down. Come back to tabletop, and we'll do that on the other side. So extend your left foot, curling your toes under, feeling the ball of your foot on the mat, and then lifting your right leg up. And then bring your right knee back down, come back to tabletop. And this is where we typically tuck our toes under, walk our hands back, come into a squat, and then up to mountain. But today we're going to do it in a different way. So come back to a basic seated pose, whichever way your feet are comfortable. Mine typically go for my right leg being out. And this is a method I saw of getting up off the ground that I particularly like. It's very easy to do, but I kind of have to mindfully do it because otherwise I'm kind of like just struggling to get up. So the key is look to the foot, your outer foot, and what direction is it pointing? And my right foot is pointing to the left side of the mat. So I'm going to take my hands, place them to the left side of me, bring my right foot down onto the mat and push down and come up. And you can do that on either side. So let me show you again. So the key is looking to your foot to tell you what direction to move in. So my foot is pointing to the left. Bring my hands to the left, my foot down, and come way into my two hands and my foot come up to a standing position. Nice and easy peasy. So when you're gardening on the ground, that's a nice, easy way to get up. Otherwise, you can do what we normally do is kind of come into a squat and then come up. So mountain pose, and we'll do the essentials of good posture. So our toes are pointing to the straight edge of the mat, about hip width apart. We lift our toes up off the mat, spread them apart as much as possible, coming back down to the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat, and then bringing our heels back down again, feeling that groundedness, that support of the earth. And legs are nice and straight and strong, gentle bend in the knees, navel's tucked to the spine, elongating the spine, the back of the neck. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is slightly tucked toward your chest, creating that nice long line in the back of your neck. And the crown of your head's reaching up to the sky. You're going to inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And exhale, bringing our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go to support our lower back. And then inhale, bring your hands to your shins, flatten out your spine, back of your neck, create one nice long line, nice flat back. And then dropping crown of your head down toward the mat. Just let gravity take over here for a moment. And breathe in. And just check in with yourself. And then sweep your hands up overhead. And we're going to come up onto our tippy toes. And today we'll do the palm tree. So we're just going to stay up on our tippy toes and kind of wave our arms like a nice gentle breeze is flowing through the room. Just trying to keep our balance up on our tippy toes. And then lower our heels back down to the mat, lower our hands back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, hands to shins, flat back, our gaze is straight down. And then exhale, lowering the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, and then we're going to bring our hands out in front of us. And then we're going to do a few chair poses. So we're going to bend our knees, lowering our hips down toward our ankles, and just take a peek at your knees. Make sure they're not extending beyond your big toe. And come down as far as comfortable. And then we'll come back up again, lifting our hands up to the sky. We'll do that 2 more times. So lowering your arms, and you may not want to bring them all the way down. You may want to leave them just at a diagonal. It's up to you, whatever feels most comfortable for you in this pose, because it's not a super comfortable pose, but it's a great strength building pose. And then back up. And one last time, lowering the hips toward the ankles. So you can come down maybe a little bit further. Thighs parallel to the earth. And then come back up. And then we're going to bring our hands down to the mat on a big exhale. Inhale, bring our hands to our shins. Nice flat back. Gaze straight down. Exhale, dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat. And then we're not going to come all the way back up. We're going to actually do a forward fold twist here. So if you place your left fingers in front of your left foot, and then bend your left knee, we're going to sweep our right hand all the way up to the sky. And you can follow it with your eyes if that's comfortable. And then bring the right hand back down. And we'll do that on the other side. So the right hand goes in front of the right foot, right knee's bent, left leg somewhat straight, where it's comfortable. And then lifting your left hand, sweeping it up to the sky, following it with your gaze. And then bringing that back down. And sweeping both hands on a big inhale, coming up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then palms come to the back of your hips. So the fingertips pointing down toward the mat. Feet about hip width apart. Relaxing your shoulders. So letting them just kind of roll naturally back. Tucking your chin toward your chest. Just drop your shoulders back to the point where you can still keep your nice even flow of breath. And then come back up. Well done. And we'll continue on. So we're in mountain pose with our arms alongside of us. We lift our right leg up. And as we lift our right leg up, and we're going to lift it to a 90-degree angle, so like you're sitting in a chair. You're lifting your leg up, you're going to lift your arms up to the sky. Create a nice balanced pose. And then we're going to send that right foot back in back of us. And as we do, we're going to bring our hands down and around into an airplane pose. So landing on the ball of your foot. And then we're going to come back. And you can stop at mountain pose just to get your bearings. And we'll do that again. Come up. And then back, sweeping your hands down and back into airplane pose, landing on the ball of your foot. And then one last time, we sweep it all the way up in one movement. And then all the way back, and see if you can extend it even further back. And you can come on the ball of your foot, or if this is not feeling stable, come pivot your foot and bring the heel back down to the mat. We'll come into high lunge or warrior one, depending on how your foot has landed. A little bit of an arch in your back here. And then we'll come into warrior two. So swing our arms all the way around so that they're at shoulder height. Left knee is over the left ankle. You just barely see your toe. Right foot, the edge is nice and snug in the mat. You just kind of wiggle so you get that nice warrior two feeling. And then gently turn your head to look at your left fingertips. And then we'll bring the left fingertips up to the sky, peaceful warrior, as we bring our right arm down to our thigh. And then bring our right arm down to extended side angle, placing our right forearm on our right thigh, sending our it's the left hand, sorry, on the left thigh, and the right hand goes up to the sky. And then we'll bring the right hand all the way down to the mat, landing it on the mat, pivoting our foot, coming into runner's lunge. And then bring the back knee down to the mat, coming into low lunge. We'll walk our fingertips back toward our back knee. Our left foot's gonna go and flex its toes up to the sky. And then we'll walk our hands forward, bringing them just a little bit above, in front of the foot, and then opening up our chest, lifting our chin up, sending our gaze straight out, or maybe even up to the tops of some trees so that our chest opens nicely. And then we'll walk our hands back again, straightening out our left leg, flexing the left toes, sending them up toward the sky, and then walking our hands forward just beyond our foot, and then sending our chest and chin up and out. And one last time, walking our hands back, straightening out the left leg, flexing the toes up to the sky, and then walking forward just beyond our foot, opening up our chest, giving ourselves a nice stretch. You feel it down in your hip area. And then come back, and we'll come into runner's lunge. And we're going to walk our hands alongside of the mat, till we come into a wide-legged stance. Our toes are pointing out with our heels tucked in about 45 degrees. With our shoulders right, or our wrists right below our shoulders, so should fit that way, easier to do. We're going to bring our elbows down toward the mat, like what we did when we did the side stretch. And you can keep your knees gently straight. Again, that soft bend in the knee, or you can actually really bend your knees, bringing your elbows down toward the mat. your preference. So you bring your elbows down toward the mat with a soft bend in your knees, or with a more generous bend in your knees, bring them down to the mat. See what either stretch feels like to you. Okay, and then we're gonna definitely bend our knees. You haven't already, and then bring our hands to our hips and bring our torso upright. And with this wide-legged stance, kind of feel that nice star shape that we form. We're actually going to do a piece of the Earth salutation, which I think is a nice thing to do in your wide-legged stance. So it starts off with your fingers interlaced, and you're going to lift your interlaced fingers up toward your chin, and then you're going to turn them around and push down toward the mat. And as you push down, you can bend your knees and come down with your hands. And then we're going to take our hands and send them out in front of us, creating a half circle, bringing them up overhead. And you can straighten your legs as you bring them up over your head. And then we'll release our fingers and have them come down. So that's one. We'll do two more. So envision, if you will, and your fingers start interlaced here, you're going to till the soil up, and that comes up to your chin, and then turn your hand and then push down. You're going to plant the seed into the soil, coming down with your knees bending. And then you're going to watch that stem of that seed come up through the soil and then unfurl its leaves and blossoms. One last time, fingers interlace, and you're going to till the soil, bringing it up, planting the seed, pushing it down into the soil, bending your knees down, and then watch that stem come up and out of the soil. You straightening up your legs, and then watching it unfurl its leaves and its blossoms. Okay, and then we're going to come back to Warrior Two. So come back into your Warrior Two position. Arms straight out. Gaze at your left fingertips. We'll straighten the left leg, front leg out, and come into triangle pose. So we'll reach forward with our left hand and then bring it down toward our leg, toward our mat. Reaching to the sky with your right hand, maybe setting your gaze up to your right hand. And then bringing your right hand all the way down to the mat, pivoting, coming in to runner's lunge. And then we're going to bring our back foot up to meet your front foot, coming into forward fold. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then come back to mountain pose with your hands down alongside. We'll do that on the other side. So we're gonna lift our left leg up as we lift our arms up and send our left leg and back. And we're gonna sweep our hands down and back into airplane arms. Our left foot landing on its toes and ball of the foot. And then we'll sweep back, bringing our left leg back up. Arms go up. And then sweeping them, arms down, bringing the left foot in back of us. landing on the toe and the ball of the foot. And one last time, sweeping it up. And then this time when you come down, see if you can send your foot even further back. And you can land it on the ball of the foot or pivot your foot so you come into warrior one. We'll swing our hands all the way up to the sky. Gentle bend in our back. High lunge or warrior one. And then we're going to pivot our foot back down and come into warrior two. So we're going to bring the right knee over the right ankle. Arms are at shoulder height. Left foot's nice and snug in the mat. And gently turn our gaze to our right fingertips. And then lift our right fingers up for peaceful warrior. Left hand goes down. And then bringing our right forearm to our right thigh. Sweeping the left fingertips up to the sky. Sending your gaze up to the fingertips. And then bringing our left fingertips down to the mat. Pivoting, coming into runner's lunge. Lowering the left knee down to the mat. And then we'll walk our fingertips back toward the back of the mat, straightening out our front leg, flexing our toes up to the sky. And then walk our fingers forward, just beyond our foot, opening up our chest, opening up our heart, feeling that nice stretch in our hamstrings, in our hip area. Walking the fingers back, and straightening out the front leg, flexing the toes up to the sky. And then walking our hands forward, extending our chest up and out. And one last time, walking our hands back. And then front, come forward, just beyond our foot, opening up our chest, really coming into that stretch. And then we'll walk our hands over to the left side of the mat, come back to runner's lunge, sorry. And then walk your hands along the long side of the mat, not going to reverse. So you see front side, not the back side of me. And again, we'll come into a wide-legged stance where our toes are pointing out, heels are tucked in about 45-degree angle. Wrists are right below the shoulders. And bringing your elbows down toward the mat with either your knees with a slight bend in your knees or a big bend in your knees, your choice. And we'll come back up. So wide-legged stance with a forward fold, and then bringing our elbows down toward the mat. And then back up again. And one last time, bringing your elbows to the mat. Feeling the stretch in different ways. And then definitely bending your knees here, bringing your hands to your hips and straighten up your torso, coming into that star position. Then we'll bring our hands down and interlace them. We'll do a few more earth salutations. Beautiful gardening metaphor. So inhale, bringing our hands up toward our chin and kind of tilling up the soil. And then we're going to push down and bend our knees down as we push that seed down into the soil. And then watch as the stem comes up out of the ground, Straightening out our legs as we go. Hands come up overhead. And then let that plant unfurl its leaves and its blossoms. We'll do that 2 more times. Interlace your hands. Come up. Inhale, exhale, come down, bending the knees, pushing that seed into the soil. Inhale, come up, straightening the legs, hands come up overhead, seed grows, or the stem grows out of the soil. And then exhale, let that leaf and blossoms unfurl. One last time, inhale, up, exhale, down. Inhale, stem comes up. Exhale, unfurl. And then pivot your feet to the right, coming into warrior 2 again. Send your gaze to your right fingertips. And we'll straighten out our right leg. Send our right fingertips forward and then down into triangle pose. And the gaze goes up to our left fingers. And then bring our left fingertips down to the mat, coming back to runner's lunge. And then we're going to bring that left foot to the right foot. So push down your right foot, lifting the left foot, coming into forward fold. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. Well done. We'll bring our pinky toes to the edges of the mat. Heels tucked in 45 degrees. Hands come to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And then lowering our hips down toward the mat, coming into that wide-legged squat. Get our squat in today, for sure. Elbows are on the insides of the knees. Maybe send your hands down closer to the mat. Really feeling the stretch it creates. And then bring your sit bones down. We're going to roll down, so you can choose your method. Knees bent, knees straight. Or the express method with your hands tucked under your knees, which I'm going to do. Knees come to the chest. Interlace your fingers, give it a nice, gentle hug. And rock back and forth to massage your lower back. You can create circles if you want with your toes. It's a nice massage as well. And then send your arms out at shoulder height and send them out both directions. And then we're going to gently lower our knees to the right side. And once they've landed, gently turn your head to the left. Let's look at your left fingertips. And then slowly turn your head back to center. Inhale, lifting your legs back to center. And then exhale, lowering your knees to the left side. And let them land. And then gently turn your head to look at your right fingertips. Recline twist. And slowly turn your head back to center. And inhale, lifting your legs back to center. And this last pose, if you have a wall handy, it's legs up a wall, or also seen it or heard it called ants up a tree. And it's actually one of my favorite post-gardening poses. My back will get ouchy after weeding and tending the garden. And I find this pose really helps to alleviate that lower back issue. So if you don't have a wall close by, you can use a towel. I happen to have my trusty towel right here. And I just set underneath my my bum area, and bringing my hands alongside, palms down. I'll send my feet up to the sky. And so if you have a wall, you would be, and I do happen to have a wall. I actually do this in my kitchen with my cupboards. So if you have a wall, you're gonna bring yourself close to the wall and then pivot and send your legs up the wall. And again, kitchen cabinets work great too, because I have a rug right there that I'm laying on. So just like 5, maybe even 10 minutes of this at the end of your gardening day is so soothing. So you can stay in this if you happen to be up a wall, ants up a tree, or you can prepare yourself for Shavasana. So let your whole body relax. Feet come out to edges of the mat, feet flopping open, taking a few deep inhales and then pursing your lips, exhaling, trying to blow out or cool down food or blow out a candle. It's more of a, like if you're trying to cool down your food, purse. So inhale and then purse through your lips, emptying out your lungs and just relaxing into the mat. Just feel like you're on the grass, with soft grass supporting you. And I will read a poem. This poem's by Robert Frost, and it's titled Putting in the Seed. You come to fetch me from my work tonight when supper's on the table, and we'll see if I can leave bearing the white, soft petals fallen from the apple tree, and go along with you ere you lose sight of what you came for and become like me, a slave to a springtime passion for the earth, and a slave to a springtime passion for the earth. How love burns through the putting in the seed, on through the watching for that early birth, when, just as the soil tarnishes with weed, the sturdy seedling with arched body comes, shouldering its way and shedding the earth crumbs.